Hello, today we are going to discuss about communication. Communication is very critical in individual, social, and organizational life. Why is it communication that so important? Because individually, you need to communicate very well in order to be understood and also convey a certain message to individual groups, organization, or public. But then, communication is at times inefficiently delivered. Usually, communication is a process of sending an encoded message by a sender to a receiver via a channel, and that message is being decoded by the receiver, and of course, give out a feedback in terms of response. So, communication must be complete only when there is a feedback of the message encoded via a channel to a receiver where the receiver has decoded the message and provided the feedback. Communication is one of the critical components of organizational activity because almost all the functions of management are linked to communication for them to be succeeded. You need to communicate your plans, direct through you need to direct through communication, you need to organize through communication. You need to control through communication. You need to staff through communication, and you need to coordinate through communication. All these functions of management communication is very key. But often, communication is not without a barrier. Yes, there are certain situations where you cannot be able to communicate or send your intended message to the receiver for the receiver to receive and okay make use of it. Some of the factors or barriers to this effective communication, one is information which the receiver has already gotten that conflicts with what you are trying to communicate. So if the receiver already has a particular information who differ from the one you are going to communicate with him, is bound to be a problem. That's the reason why it's better for the receiver to really listen properly of what the new information is coming for him to make a judgment. So also information that conflicts or contradicts the information which the receiver has already gotten is also going to affect the communication process. Information that conflicts with what the receiver already has and information that contradicts what the receiver has already gotten. That leads to a sort of argument that opportunity prevails. But then the next one is there's also a physiological defects, the effect of dumbness, deafness, stammering, all are physically challenged characteristics, which of course affects communication. But there's also additional barrier to communication, a barrier such as emotion, effect of emotion. A certain situation of a person, will determine his ability to listen or to organize himself or to be in the mood to listen to whatsoever will be communicated. Someone that is moody, someone that is unhappy, someone that have a sad experience just occurred to him. So it will be difficult to, assimilate whatsoever information will be given to him. The next one is also a sort of lack of interest. If someone doesn't have interest in what is going to be communicated to, of course, you will not even stay where the communication is taking place. You will even cause a distraction or, of course, walk away. That is because he's not interested. And there's also a barrier of noise. Noise, you know, is a barrier to communication. That's the reason why when you want to communicate, make sure there's no noise around you because it may become a barrier to the effective communication. Communication is very, very critical in both personal, interpersonal, organizational, even societal, kind of relationship. The reason why one of the skills needed, uh, there should be a communication skills. This skills in communication means someone should have the reading skills, the listening skills, the writing skills, and the speaking skills. Speak well, write well, read well, and of course, I said speak, write, read, and listen. Listen, read, write, speak. These four components of communication are key for someone to be able to have a communication skills. Learn to listen carefully when someone is speaking. Take notes. Don't interrupt until when the person is speaking. You also talk, politely, not rudely. So all these are communication skills that are very, very important in one's life, either at organization level, at interpersonal level, at societal level, or even at domestic level, because communication is key to everything. It makes success of an individual relationship, interpersonal relationship, organizational relationship, groups relationship, etc. Let's communicate well and let's learn to have a two-way communication between a sender and a receiver via a feedback. And let's in organization try to have responsive feedback. Responsive feedback is the one that has been validated after it has been communicated and it has been validated. It's not arbitrary feedback, but it's something that has been subjected to validation and objectivity so that management can take decision on it in order to improve organizational performance or societal performance based on the theory of change that has been identified and is being tailored to be corrected or intervened upon. This is the discussion for today. Thank you very much and bye for now. Thank you. Bye.